G'day, folks. My name is Merrick. I just wanted to say a couple of words about my first experience dungeon mastering, which is now a very long time ago. This is not actually the first time I ever dungeon masters. That is really lost to my memory and only lasted a few minutes. The first time I really tried to do it was when I was at school. I was in year 7, and I came along with a bunch of friends and to play this adventure. Many players would have used this as their first adventure because it was included in the basic rule set, which a lot of people learned. I think it was first included in the 1979 set and continued on for at least 5 years after that. If you're looking for the adventure which has sold the most number of copies, it's probably Keep on the Borderlands. And Keep on the Borderlands is a really, really excellent adventure if you know what you're doing. If you're a 10-year-old trying to run your first adventure, it's not so good. The problem is that Keep on the Borderlands has two parts to it. One, it has a village, and two, it has a set of a dungeon, a set of caves with monsters in them. Now, the caves with monsters in them are really fun and easy to DM. They're the bit which you want to be doing. However, the adventure doesn't begin there. The adventure begins with you reaching the keep itself. And after reading out a lot of box text which says how wonderful a place this is, very atmospheric text. It's great text. You get to the what happens next. And me, as a new dungeon master, opened up the module and went, rightio, you've got up there, and oh yes, and the guards ask you things, and so everyone said something, and then what happens now? Right, okay. You enter, and your your horses are taken to Area 2. Right. What's Area 2? There, right, short tower, entry yards. See, that's the problem. It tells you it's taken to Area 3. You're taken to Area 4. What are those places? Well, they're the stables. They're the inn. They're the main entry yard. Then what happens? Well, nothing. The keep is designed very much for a dungeon master to populate it here himself or herself. It is a really, really interesting place once you know what you're doing. And I had no idea whatsoever what I was doing. This is one of the reasons that the starter set these days, which has the Lost Mine of Phandelver as the starting adventure, is so much better. It starts with you being attacked. You go and deal with the goblins. It's all action. And then, when you get to the actual town, oh look, there's lots and lots of advice of what to do there. Lots of people who you can talk to who give you ideas of where to go next. Keep on the Borderlands doesn't do that. It has an evil priest, it has a innkeeper, neither of whom are named, and then sort of says, well, you should really go out and find the Caves of Chaos because they're the dungeon. Where's the dungeon? Don't know. It's in the wilderness somewhere. The wilderness map is quite hilarious. It's actually said in the notes to it, says if the characters get lost and keep on going off the edge of the map, they should meet a kindly stranger, a talking raven or something to say, you're going the wrong way. All of which actually happened to me one of the times I ran it, because there isn't enough information to tell you where the caves are. Now, the caves themselves, they're fantastic. They're really entertaining. You've got a bunch of enemies of different sorts, going from kobolds, orcs, all the way up to this evil cult of priests. And they're set up so that the caves which are closest to you when you reach the canyon are the easiest. And if you go to the ones at the very back, which are up the height, they're the hardest. It's a really, really, really good design. Problem is, you have to get there. So what did I do the very first time I was running this adventure? And I'm looking around at all the my friends who are going, what's this guy doing? Why are we in this keep? Why doesn't he know what's going on? Well, I said, well, bugger that for a lark. Let's go and actually just go to the caves. And so that's what I did. I said, oh, turn to the part of the adventure where the caves were, and we did that. And that was a lot of fun. If you're writing an adventure these days for brand new players, you need to give a lot more advice as to how to deal with urban situations, towns, home bases, just because it's the most unusual part of role-playing. It's very easy to do a dungeon. Dungeons are great because they're very constrained. Each room basically is its own little adventure. And so you can just do it all and have a wonderful time. Once you get to the home base, you need to write more. So if you're writing a brand new adventure for brand new players, do a lot of work on the dungeon and start with that if you can. And then have the home base detailed to the level of so that you give some help to the Dungeon Master about what they can do there. Now, if you're writing an introductory module which is not designed for new Dungeon Masters, you can get a lot more interesting. But if you're doing it for a first-time Dungeon Master, especially a young one, look, there's a big difference between running your first adventure at 30 and running your first adventure at 10. When you're 30, you have a lot more life experience. When you're 10, you don't have that. Running a dungeon far, far easier than running a town. So, if you're going to write a adventure for new players, think about the how the Dungeon Master is going to read it and understand what's there. If you're writing an adventure for a novice adventure for experienced Dungeon Masters, you can do a lot more. Just keep that in mind and brand your adventure accordingly. Say, this one is for brand new DMs. This one is for experienced DMs. It makes a lot of difference to people when they're looking for an adventure to see, oh, this one is set up to be is a good one for my first experience. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.